Hi, this is Kole. I lost my voice but I still have to make this intro, so let's give it a shot. For October the 7th, 2022, we talk about Catherine Full Body, Deep Rock Galactic, Metal Gear Survive, and much more. Welcome to Level 431.
My name is Cole Ross.
I'm Dennis Furia.
I'm David Maismith.
And I'm Jala Prendez.
And you are listening to The Level, a podcast for people who love video games. Welcome back, Jala.
Hi, I'm here.
Yeah.
Or so you claim.
I'll believe her.
See, that's your first mistake. That's how she gets you.
All we really know is that she's in places.
I am in places.
Bruce Willis sold his voice and face, and so I think Jala did the same thing.
I think that's a
Wait,
myth.
I thought that was Nicolas Cage that sold his face.
The AIs promptly merged the two.
Oh yeah,
So we have Bruce Cage.
Bruce Cage, yeah. No, I think the Bruce Willis thing, that was his family came out and said no, that's not true. That's a rumor.
Would they say that he sold the rights to like whatever deepfake himself?
Yeah, they said that was a rumor. It's just kind of a legend kind of deal.
It's not a bad idea though.
I mean, it's a little ghoulish given the fact that man.
Oh, go ahead.
The man currently is suffering from acute aphasia.
I don't know what that is.
It's a little BoJack Horseman, is what it is. That literally happened.
Yeah.
What is an aphasia?
Aphasia is a condition caused in the brain where you either have I forget which one it is, either difficulty processing or difficulty speaking language. So,
okay, yeah, that would be a problem.
Yeah, it was kind of reported as dementia for a while, but very, very specifically, like he has had to retire because of that very depressing condition. Regardless of deep fakery or not, I will believe that Jala is here.
Well, actually, I will believe that Cole orchestrated it because we recently recorded a bonus level during which time Cole was like, yeah, when are you going to be on the show again next? And I'm like, I don't know. Everybody's been attending. And then suddenly I get this message from Cole saying that Ben said he couldn't be on.
I assure you it was just a coincidence. But I was going to say people are getting a double dose of Jala because the bonus level will have come out a couple days ago by the time people hear this. So we talked about Phoenix Wright Trials and Tribulations. If you're just now subscribed, then you can go back, kind of finishing out the trilogy of bonus levels that we've done about that series.
If they're just now subscribing and they're just now hearing me, then they're like, who in the world is this person? Where did she come from? So.
But courtroom escapades aside, how you doing, Jala? What you been up to? Gym.
I've been going to the gym a lot because...
Nice. Who's Jim?
Well, that might be the name of one of my various gym bros. I'm not sure. Because if I did have a gym bro whose name was Jim, I would be very happy.
Well, of course.
Jim,
nominative determinism.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, and I went on a ruck for the first time in like forever with the rucking club over in Seabrook, Texas. So we went around, like the Seabrook is right off of the bay, I want to say.
Okay.
Anyway, there's water involved, and so there's like this neat little port section and also like a fancy boardwalk pier looking thing. Mm-hmm. And so we rucked over a bridge and watched the sunrise over this fancy little area. I posted some photos to places on the internet where you can find me at Jalachan.
Nice. Well, that sounds outright pleasant to me.
Mm-hmm.
Worth being tired for, right?
Yeah. So that's why I'm tired, because I've been waking up at 4:00 every day, every single day to do something. So, yeah.
Oh, well, good.
What if you had a gym bro named Jimbo?
Jimbo, your gym bro.
If Jimbo was someone's name, I would be very upset, because then that implies a certain type of person that I do not know that I would really get along with.
I mean, it implies a child.
Wait, Jimbo?
A child?
No, I mean, like, is Jimbo an actual name, or is that just like calling somebody Billy instead of Bill or William?
For there to be
So
a
now we're going to
Jimbo
see how
man.
many Billies listen to the podcast.
That's right.
Yeah, we're about to get the throwdown.
Jimbo is a diminutive form of the given name James. Okay, yes. Also, it's a Japanese surname. Okay.
Yeah, yo Jimbo.
Yeah, so diminutive. I always think of Jimbo Jones from the Simpsons, but
Yeah. It's hilarious to me when the nickname is longer than the name itself.
Well, you got to have a certain cadence to it, right?
Well, see, my diminutive form is Jala-chan, which is how I go by everywhere. And like, if someone were to try to treat me in a fashion as if I were a child, they would get punched out. So
Probably.
Like, that's a thing.
Yeah. Let's see here. Dennis, what's going on?
Not too much. I'm trying to think of anything super interesting that's happened in the past week. I had a thankfully low key one. My youngest Barrett is our outdoor kid. Like, from the moment he wakes up, he's just begging to go outside. And this is like nice weather to be out with him, but that means that like first thing in the morning before I've really woken up, I'm like trudging along the street after this kid who's just balls to the wall, waddling as far into the great beyond as he can.
Nice.
So he impressed me today. He actually got pretty far. Like, we're a couple blocks away from the middle school that my older two go to. And he walked, like, he led the way all the way to that school. Like, he had a destination in mind. He clearly knew where he wanted to go. We got there. He's like, "Luke, Milo?" And I'm like, "No, Luke and Milo aren't here." Well, they are here. You can't see them. It's
they're back there in the mist.
But yeah, so that's lots of outdoor time. Significantly more relaxed than Jala's. But still too early for my taste.
Little bit, yeah. Well, get those good days in before winter comes,
and then you have an excuse to curl up and just snuggle all day.
Yep. Yeah. David, how about you? What's going on?
Yeah, not a whole lot. Just kind of dreading the coming Arctic apocalypse.
How bad does it get down there where you're at? I
mean, anything below 70 is too cold.
Okay. So that's right. You've chosen to live there. Right. So that is a good thing to you.
Yeah. No, I maintain that it was a mistake for humanity to, travel north of the equator.
I mean, okay. So as long as you could be down at the tip of Argentina and it could be 20 degrees Fahrenheit and it would be okay as long as we're not north of the equator.
Okay. Well, I don't know, like within 20 decalitres of the equator. I don't know how latitude works.
23 and a half, get the tropics in there, Yeah. Outside of the band of the tropics, I think would be the way to go.
Yeah. No, that's 23 decalitres.
Of course, all those decalitres. Oh man. Well, at least you've got a little while. For me, my guitar rehab is going well. For people who didn't listen last week, I've decided to do the ill-advised thing and put money into my first guitar, which is manufactured in the year 2000, manufactured in Indonesia, Squier Stratocaster. I believe, I don't know how much it was when the person originally bought it, but I bought it off of them in high school for $125, I think. But so far, I have rehabbed the neck, done all the crowning and filing and polishing on the frets, and put on locking tuners, which also involved refinishing the headstock because I had to drill all new holes in it. I broke broke out the multimeter and checked all the circuitry and stuff. So it's like the stuff that I thought was working, that I thought wasn't working is not working. So I know what to replace there now. And I tried restringing it, but I've discovered I've got nut problems.
Well,
hate those.
I
It
mean,
happens
it was
sometimes.
only a matter of time.
Yeah, a nut is the part of the guitar that the strings go over on their way up the neck toward the headstock. It's that little white part where the strings kind of slot in. I'm getting a lot of buzz, and the action's too low, so I'm gonna have to carve a new nut because lubing my nut didn't work.
So, ironically enough, on the cigar box guitars, you use a bolt for the nut.
Oh, huh. Well, yeah, I guess that makes sense. Yeah, because you're not really looking for a whole lot of resonance on it.
Right, exactly.
I gotcha. Yeah, so this is going to be a little bit more involved than I thought, but the purpose has not been to get to a playable guitar. Like, hopefully, I come out the other side of this with a guitar that sounds nicer than it was.
And then
something
you
I
flip
didn't
that
ruin.
guitar, buy 2 more guitars, and keep going until you've got a guitar empire. That's how capitalism works, right?
I mean, if this was like some kind of weird little tycoon sim game, maybe, probably. No, it's the purpose of it's to have a project. So that's nice. I've also been... Go ahead.
When do you install the groupies?
I mean, I would have to literally play in front of anybody else, but I don't do that. So...
I mean, do the cats count?
No, decidedly not.
They are not fans of the guitar?
They'll stay in. They seem indifferent to my antics.
So I do need to share some photos of a couple of guitars that a friend of mine painted here in town. I'm uploading them to the backstage so you can see. One is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles themed, and the other one is Dragon Ball themed.
Oh.
They are pretty baller.
Yeah. I've thought about repainting mine because it's a candy apple red that I don't really enjoy.
Ooh,
but that is
nice.
that is a lot of work.
This is a lot of work, yeah.
Holy shit. That's not just painted, that's carved. There's actual woodwork going.
Yeah, he actually did build up a surface and then carve it and then redo the whole thing and then paint all of it. So
oh man, I love the manhole cover.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah.
So if it's an electric guitar,
the top of the Ninja Turtles one is a slice of pizza. So
nice.
definitely worth here. Let me share a link to you guys.
Wow.
This is Dark Arts and Loved Crafts by Vince, Vinc. All of that is one long thing on Instagram for anybody who wants to know.
Yeah.
Or you can of course just say, hey, Jala, what's that thing that you were talking about? I want to see it. So I shared a link to the Instagram post for you folks who are on the show with me currently.
Yeah.
So am I correct that for an electric guitar, there's no resonance, so you can basically paint it or do whatever you want to the body?
So what matters for the resonance, to my understanding, and there's so much superstition about guitar tech stuff. What really, really matters for resonance is the connection between the neck and the body, and the nut. It's the nut itself. If you have a nut that is too loose or too constricted, then then it actually can't ring out. There are knock-on effects, like a hollow body guitar will have a little bit more of a different sound to it, and will be a little bit more prone to feedback. But the mods that I'm seeing here on these already pretty extreme body shapes, it's almost like a BC Rich kind of thing. The work that was done there wouldn't have an appreciable difference on it. People can feel free to disagree. Like I said, there's a lot of superstition around it. Yeah.
I'm just glad that he has Master Roshi, who is quite possibly the best Dragon Ball Z character.
I mean, this is it's a nice little hodgepodge. Yeah.
Well, the Roshi, the Dragon Ball one, is not finished yet, so
okay.
He is working on that.
Nice.
But the Ninja Turtles one is done, and I will tweet it out too, so people can see. Because I don't want to just be like, yeah, so just look this up real quick. Sorry if you're driving,
Yeah. But no, other than that, I've just been doing some organizing stuff out of my garage, putting up new pegboard. Can never have enough pegboard. So all of that. But I want to talk about games. Let's talk about games and do the regular kind of show, what with the grind, the multiplayer, and the boss. And we can get started with The Grind, where we talk about the games we have been playing over the past period of time or so. Jala, what you been playing?
Well, last time I was on the show, I was in the middle of playing some stuff, and I played a little bit more, and then I got really busy, and then was passing out, going to sleep as soon as I could when I finished all of the other stuff I had to do. And so I have not gotten appreciably further in any of the things I was playing. I was playing Catherine Full Body and All Was Awakening. I had gotten myself unstuck after like a year or maybe even 2 years of no, it was 1 year. 1 year of being stuck. I finally, I just pulled it open, played a little bit, and then got myself unstuck from the part I was at. But then after that, I set that one down and then didn't get back to it just because I was tired and I just didn't. I was like, I don't want to do jumpy shooty.
Yeah.
And then I randomly started playing Shining Force 2. And so I can talk about Catherine Full Body because I'm like 2/3 of the way through that one. And I can also talk a little bit about Shining Force 2 because I played that a lot. So and going back to it has been interesting. So
for Catherine Full Body, did you play the original or
no? I did not. I picked this one up because it was on Switch. It was on sale. And so it was like, well, okay, I guess I'm going to play this. It is a 2019 remake / enhancement of the 2011 puzzle game by Atlas and Studio Zero. The Switch port was released in 2020, but it just went on sale, I think, in June or something like that. And I just picked it up. Yeah. I do have the original in my backlog now because I bought it on sale on Steam after I started playing Full Body because I was like, oh, I should probably play the original too and see the differences. But then the more and more that I've read about the differences between the original and Full Body, it's like, well, okay, the story is better in the first game for a lot of people, but then also the gameplay is better in the remake. So
I wasn't aware that they changed the story that much.
There's a whole new character.
Okay.
And that character is a love interest. And
it's an expanded role for a character who was already there. It's the pink-haired lady, right? Not the pink-haired.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so that character is in the original as well?
She's a waitress, isn't she?
No, she plays a piano.
Okay, yeah. I remember she worked at the bar. I will let you speak. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I thought it was a new character. I thought I read somewhere that it was a new character. I don't know. I didn't play the first one. But anyway, this character is a love interest. There is a whole different set of paths that you can go down for that character. This is a multiple ending game. So it also has new puzzle mechanics to it, more nuances to the puzzle parts of the game, which, according to what I've read of the original game, basically the gameplay is the part where it falls down in. The rest of it's okay, but the main core mechanics of the puzzle parts just were not it's just block puzzles, like pushing blocks and trying to climb blocks within a certain amount of time before they fall away, kind of thing. Is the main mechanical element other than the role-playing bits.
I think it had trouble walking the line between mindless action platformer and puzzles so hard you can't do them at speed.
Okay.
Like I feel like I either went into a level like kind of like, okay, I got this, or just wishing that there wasn't any kind of timed element because it was too hard. Like the perfect midpoint seemed very narrow for that game.
Gotcha. Well, then Full Body fixes those issues. I'll talk
Cool.
about that. So the people behind this game also made Persona. So the art direction and all of that is very, very good. The animation is great. That is all because of the team they had working on this. The game itself follows the life of a very terrible guy named Vincent, who is dating a very terrible woman named Catherine with a K, and cheats on her with another terrible woman named Catherine with a C, who is more or less a manifestation of Vincent's fears of commitment. So I feel just like from the basic premise and just seeing how some of the stuff in the game is playing out, at least that I have seen, Catherine with a C does not really show up when there's anybody else around. And so it makes me feel like this is like, like an extended metaphor, like a big hallucination on Vincent's part, or could be interpreted as that, of him, working through all of his anxieties about his relationship with Catherine with a K, just based on the, just observations that I've made where like Catherine with a C just kind of shows up, but only when it's Vincent. And just some other aspects where like she is completely the opposite of Catherine with a K and kind of reinforces all of Vincent's fears and makes him feel like, yeah, it's okay to be lost and not really, want commitment, not want this and that, and just kind of want to be exactly where I'm at and not, whatever. Like, I'm fine the way that I am. Why does anything have to change? Yada, yada.
She's
and like,
not challenging him.
Yeah, she's not challenging that. She's reinforcing that, if anything, But with the introduction of a third character, that kind of, like a third love interest, it's like, well, in that version, which is the one that I'm playing, of course, Rin serves to be basically the only character that is a good one. Like that, the only nice person who's does not seem like a terrible person. And as a result of that, Rin is kind of like the balancing point between the two terrible options that this terrible man has in front of him. And yes, we're going to count the number of times I say that. It's going to be like the Krillin death counter. Just because nobody's a good character. Nobody's good except for Rin. So, but anyway, also the main waitress lady's name is Erica. And she doesn't seem to be bad either, but she does have red hair and wears yellow and white. And I just can't get over it. She looks like Ronald McDonald, and that was a choice. That was an intentional choice. Like, go look up Erica from Catherine and look at this character. She looks like Ronald McDonald, like Yassified.
I was getting Erica and the new character confused, and in my head, that would have been a much more radical choice for them, and I was there for it. But that's not the case, so I will rescind my my guess.
Well, see,
yeah, I was looking for a window to say that because I found it. I was like, oh, okay, no, I totally see why you would think it was the waitress, because I would have described her hair as pink until I saw Rin's pink hair.
Yeah. Well, see, there is a part in the game that I have been playing where Rin borrows one of the waitress outfits from Erica and tries that on. So I was like, well, maybe that's what they're thinking about. Maybe that happened in the original or something. But okay, no. So Rin is 100% new character, and Erica is the waitress.
I apologize for calling you into doubt.
Oh, no problem. I don't know because I didn't play the original. But so anyway, Vincent, who is cheating on Catherine with Catherine, is also beset with supernatural nightmares wherein he is a sheep and all of these other men from the town, and these include guys that are in the bar that he goes to all the time. Everybody is a sheep, and they're all filing to go through hell. Basically, they're in the bottom of hell, and they are climbing up a bunch of blocks. That's where the block puzzle part comes in, and they are being chased by manifestations of whatever their fears are and guilt, puts in front of them. So for Vincent, that'll be something like Catherine with a K coming after him, going, "Why don't you marry me?" Like the Bridezilla kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then there's another part where it's like a scary looking baby critter because, the screaming daddy, because he's terrified of this idea of becoming a father and so on. Anyway, so he's like, while I understand this whole concept of, just like the premise behind it, where you are climbing out of a stressful hell that you are in, up what feels like a mountain, having to navigate it and puzzle your way through to get out of the situation that you are in. And like, I understand in all of this tracks, I get it, all the mental stuff they're doing there, but the actual gameplay part of it falls down for me because it's just like, it's block pushing and, jumping up and everything. And like in this game, however, even if you don't like or don't want to play the puzzle bits, there is an auto button. So you can just push the auto button. It will go through the puzzle for you, and you can turn it on and off as you want. So like if you want to get a head start, you can push the button and then start, take over at any time and, do the rest from there.
Because people want to treat it like it's a visual novel.
Yeah. And you can try it. And if you just don't, you're like, I'm done with this, you can push the auto button and it'll just take you through and it's fine. So anyway, so that is something that they did to help fix that issue. I do know that there were complaints about the fact that the enemies that you come across in later puzzle levels have randomized AI, so they don't always do the same thing every time. So that does make it more difficult when you are going through because you cannot predict what the AI will be doing.
Yeah.
But anyway, the gameplay parts take place during these dream segments. So after Vincent clears a puzzle mountain and escapes to the next level of hell, he's on a landing where there's a bunch of other sheep that are hanging out and talking about their strategies for climbing these mountains. And as I said, all of these sheep are people, but to Vincent, they all look like sheep. And he, to the player, looks like a human with horns on his head. But then to all of the other sheep, he just looks like another sheep.
So would you say that they're sheeple?
Yes.
Yeah, that's a pretty accurate description.
Yes. Especially since, like, at the beginning of every night's dream, Vincent is in a line of a bunch of sheep that are just, like, lining up to go to hell again. And, he's, like, holding onto his pillow and, like, walking like a zombie. So, yeah, very much.
Yeah,
so
and also...
since they're in a nightmare, would you say wake up sheeple?
Yes.
I mean, yeah, a common theme between all these people is a complacency. It is what you notice very early on.
Yep. So, in either case, they do have the same voice that they do in actual life, and they also usually have some kind of accessory that makes you understand who they are in real life. So somebody might have a hat or a tie or whatever, and then you understand from observing the world around you who it was that you saw in the dream. And some of them put together who you are as you progress through the game and go, oh, it's you. And then like they know who you are.
This
and
loser.
Yeah, pretty much. But anyway, in the real world, it's rumored that these nightmares precipitate the pending death of men having the dreams. And these men are people who are all cheating on their partners. So, like, it's terrible and horrible and depressing because it's like everybody everybody that's in this bar cheats on somebody, or is horrible in some way.
I'm calling it now. Catherine's a succubi.
Right?
Stop reading Wikipedia.
Yeah. So after you go through that landing segment, then you go to a confessional where some voice talks to you and asks you a question, and you get to answer a question that is just like something like, do you always trust your partner or something? But it's like, a lot of times it runs me into a corner where it's like, well, Vincent himself, given how terrible of a person he is and how he's cheating on his girlfriend and how his girlfriend's really manipulative and this and this and that, I don't know that he would necessarily trust his partner. But what I want to say is not what he would be saying, you know? So I run into this problem of, do I play it like how I think Vincent would be responding, or am I playing it like me? And, you know, then you come up against the schism of, well, if I'm playing it like how I am, but then the animations, you know, in the animations and stuff, as the story progresses, Vincent is still being a crappy person. Like, okay, that's like some disconnect right there. So, you know, like I'm keeping a healthy level of distance, like not really thinking about it in terms of role play, but more like, okay, what kind of an ending do I want to look at, you know? So, so I'm not really like in the story the same way that I might be in a visual novel or something like that. But all of the ways that you respond to those questions, and then also how you act and react in the ways that you respond to text messages, phone calls, you know, questions people pose to you when you're just talking to them in day-to-day life, like all of that plays into whether or not you're on the good side or the bad side of the scale. And then that will dictate what Vincent does in response. Like if you are maxed out on the good side of the scale and you are talking to Catherine with a K, which is your girlfriend, and it seems like she might possibly be cheating, if you are on the good side of the scale, you trust her and think, okay, no, that can't be happening. But I'm assuming if you're on the bad side of the scale, you would actually accuse her of cheating, and then the story completely changes, as just an example. So, but yeah, like as I continue playing the game and learning about the characters, I kind of feel foiled because like I wish there was a clearer way to pick a path, because I don't want to be on the trajectory that I am for the ending that I am. And I think that's another reason why I haven't been like chomping at the bit to finish it, is because I'm like, well, I don't think I actually want to watch the ending that it seems like they're going to be pointing me toward, you know? But I will say that every single time that I play this game, even if Dave is trying to play something else, like for his podcast, you know, he will stop playing and turn and watch all of the story bits, like not all of the puzzly crap, but the story bits at least, of the game, to see what's going on, because it's interesting, even if you can't really like any of the characters for any reason.
Yeah.
But when you're in the bar in actual day-to-day life, you can get up and walk around and talk to people. You can also change the music on the jukebox, which includes themes from Catherine, but also as Persona, because it's by the same people. You can also play an arcade game, which is called Rapunzel, and which is basically a pixelated version of your Nightmare block puzzle game with just a few changes. Like it doesn't have anybody chasing you, for example, so you can take your time and go through and learn all the puzzles and everything. And it's not the exact puzzles that you come up against in the timed portions, but it's close enough that if you play it, it will improve your skill at the Nightmare puzzles.
It kind of teaches you the language of those puzzles, as it were.
And it gives you time to go through it, but without being like, you know, an obligatory tutorial, you know? So, but yeah, like the interactions on the landings with the other sheep in your dream after you've climbed your mountain puzzle, flesh out the characters, but they also lead to feeling more gamified, because it's like, let's talk about our strategies tutorials. But like, if this is your first time playing it, you want to know what they're going to say, just in case they mention something that you wouldn't think of. Here's a hint: most of the time they don't, but you still end up watching them anyway, you know? So, but yeah, one random weird fact is that Catherine Full Body outsold Marvel vs. Capcom 3 when it released on the same day in Japan
Oh,
by a 2-1 margin.
I didn't think it was that popular over there.
Apparently it was very popular over there.
Neat.
Yeah, so I can't really speak for the end of the game because I haven't gotten to the end of the game. I can say that it's interesting that I am still playing it at all because like I don't like the characters and I don't like the gameplay. What is driving me forward? But like the animation, some of the story elements, and just like the sophistication of the storytelling method. Even if I feel that the puzzle elements take away from the gameplay more than they add to it. Like the puzzles, I like the concept. I don't like the execution.
Yeah.
Like I would, if there were less of them, that would be okay by me. I don't need every single night. I don't need to have more puzzles thrown at me,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, it's a game that's at odds with itself quite frequently in that regard. Like the more it makes that mechanically involved, or the more it would make it mechanically involved, the more it gets in the way of people actually seeing the rest of the story. Probably, at least that was the big problem early, in the first game, right, in the first version rather. And adding in just the ability to have it autoplay, like, also just kind of trivializes it too. Like, you can turn it off and it's on you if you decide to, play with it or play without it. But also it's like, man, what's the point of this? Like, what is this adding to? Because the two things don't really talk to each other. There's not like a benefit in the story mode for getting through and doing well, scoring high, other than surviving, right? Just seeing the next stuff.
And it's kind of like, I would rather it have even something dumb like a QTE segment, that's like a little bit more forgiving of a QTE segment, thing in there instead. Because I like when they present Vincent's horror nightmare things, because like they are really honestly terrifying at times. They are really creepy and scary, and having it come up out of the darkness after you is cool. But like, I kind of wish that you could, watch him climbing up this cliff and you have the camera intentionally angled to show you different stuff and show the near misses and the swipes at him and stuff. And then like, you just have certain button pushes to do at certain times to progress with like the most finesse. Kind of like how in the Quarry, there are a lot of instances of you can push the button and either do it with finesse or still do it, but you stumbled, and like, I think that would be a good way of, still portraying the concept without making it so menial and tasky. So, but I mean, I had basically heard about Catherine, but then not really known anything about Catherine. Like, people have mentioned it, they have uttered it and gone, "Oh, Catherine," and like, I don't know what this is. So that's why I decided I was going to start playing it. So.
Just I think that I might be I am in the vocal minority by not being vocal about it. I played it and enjoyed it, and then put it, and then just kind of let it be. I'm not polarized on it like tons of folks tend to be for pretty good reasons. In regards to certain story and presentation kind of things. There's some social issues that kind of fucked up in the original version, and I don't know if they fixed it, but. That's Atlas for you.
And like I don't think that I'm going to come out the other side of this trying to throw my Switch or anything. Like, I don't feel like that's going to be my experience with it. It's more like, oh, this is kind of neat. I don't really like the characters, and certain elements of this I'm not so excited about, but like, I'm still enjoying it enough to continue playing it.
I ended up liking his friends pretty well.
Okay. Yeah, they had to give you someone that you could relate to.
Nice. Well, the journey continues.
On that one. Yep.
Yeah.
So Any questions on Catherine before I talk about Shining Force 2 briefly, because I know it's an old game.
No, I'm curious to hear about Shining Force 2.
Okay. Yeah. So this game was released in 1994 in the US. So I think some of the listeners weren't born yet, or they were like 1.
Oh, no.
Anyway, I was like in middle school at that time. Anyway, it was developed by Sonic Software Planning. It's an SRPG if you have never played a Shining Force before. In the story, because I could not remember the story until I started playing it, and then it was like, oh, all at once I remembered it, and I was like, okay, this was stored in my memory somewhere. I know all of this beat by beat. So.
This is the one that you don't care for, right? I know you like the first one and the third one. I don't know that I've heard you say a lot really about the second one at all.
It's weird because I played it a lot, but it didn't stick with me. Like, I couldn't remember anything about it until I started playing it. And then I was like, oh yeah, this is okay. But like, I just didn't feel the same affection for it as I did the first one, because the first one was my first strategy RPG or any RPG at all. So it has an obligatory special spot in my heart. And then 3, even though it is extremely ugly, is a very good story, very complex, has a lot going on that I dig, and like a lot of the mechanics and stuff I like in that game. This one, so you play as Bowie, which I hate that name anyway. But anyway, Bowie. I don't like David Bowie either, so there.
Bowie.
So, anyway, Dave is a big fan of David Bowie, and I'm just like,
boy.
Right. Yeah, no. I didn't grow up listening to any of that, and I didn't know anybody who listened to that. So like, it's real foreign to me, and it's just not a thing that I have any cachet with. Anyway, so you play as this kid with a name that shall not be named, and he gets caught up in a big to-do when a thief steals the jewels of light and dark from a shrine, thus unsealing the Demon King Xeon. You'd think
I probably should have killed him instead of locking him up.
Well, yeah, and then not only that, but you'd think if they were going to lock him up, maybe they would put some guards or something. But anyway, so the king gets attacked by a critter, and he falls ill. And then Sir Astral, a Gandalf-ass looking fella, drags the one who shall not be named and his other pupils to the Tower of the Ancients to see what's going on. And it's open, and there's critters in there too. And then you have your fight. And then you find out the king is possessed, and Astral, who apparently moonlights as a priest, performs an exorcism to save him. And then the critter gets away and possesses the king of a neighboring country. And then that country invades Grand Seal and captures the princess, whom, of course, the boy who shall not be named is in love with. And, of course, the princess loves him back because it's required by the natural law of JRPGs.
Of course.
And then the Critter King and the princess fall into a void, but only after the one who shall not be named has both of the 2 jewels of light and dark fused to his chest for no discernible reason. And then they merge together while he's falling like, the distance of a skyscraper, but he gets up and he's fine because he has a jewel. He's a jewel troll now. And because he's got the trolley belly, he's got the trolley belly power, and he's fine. So anyway, then there's a big earthquake, and all the land around the Tower of the Ancients just goes away. And then the 2 people who got on the ship with the one who shall not be named and Sir Astral and so forth, they go away, and then they go to the kingdom of Parmesan. I think it's like Parmesia or something. But anyway, it's the mainland, and they were on some island. And then, because who wants to live in a city with roads and wells and farmland anyway, am I right? They decide that they're just going to set up on the shore and just build a city of their own right there. Fuck exploring. Who needs that?
I mean, to be fair, that is basically how most of America's major cities on the East Coast got formed.
Because they were just so smart. Well, anyway, that's where I stopped in the game thus far. I got to Parmesan, and we made a house. And I found the turtle guy. And
the turtle hermit?
Yeah, I wish it was the turtle hermit. That would be a lot more interesting than the weird turtle with like a full head of hair for some reason. He looks kind of like a kappa in that way.
A turtle can be glamorous,
I guess. It's a glamour turtle. Who
Have you never heard of
yassified?
Yertle?
Who yassified Yertle? Well, anyway, so it is.
A pause for all of us to write that down.
Well, anyway, it is really wild to play an old SRPG after having played like modern games in the same genre, such as many a Fire Emblem. You have no idea whose turn comes when. You have no idea of the danger zones or enemy movement or any of that. There's no battle predictions. There's none of that crap. You don't know anything. And it's kind of refreshing because it's so simple. And I can use save states because I'm playing on Switch via Nintendo Online.
Oh, yeah.
So no harm, no foul. And I also get to still have it on a portable form. That's a big thing for me. Like, yes,
Huge.
I do have like a little laptop thing, but it's unwieldy for me to just lay in bed and try to play.
It's uncomfortable to like stay propped up, like laying
Yes.
on your belly. Yeah. No, it's
Yeah. So anyway, it's been interesting. And I will say too, it's very funny because in these old games, it's like, yeah, so that that missionary or not missionary, a messenger guy that we sent over to the kingdom died, and it must have obviously been the king. So we're going to go to war. And everybody's like, yeah, all 5 guys on the screen, and then like off they go. And then this is like the big thing. And your guy's like, oh my God, the war, it's starting. We can't help it. It's like the 5 dudes in the possessed king have just walked off. Okay, whatever. It's
stories.
It's simple stories, and you're just supposed to take it at face value and just run with it. And it's just very silly. And there was a time and a place where I could read, like I would just play the game and read into it real deep and be like, oh man, and like feel like I'm there. And, like in the beginning of this game, when the king is possessed, it's like a dark and stormy night and there's like lightning flashing and stuff. And he's like, oh dear, all the lights went out. But then you see like the creepy, critter coming through the window and stuff. And it's like, ooh, that's so spooky. Like at the time it was spooky.
Yeah.
And it's like, you look at it now and you're like, all right, cool. That was a lot of imagination there, children.
Nah, I mean, that's all you had.
Uh-huh.
It was relying on your imagination.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's where I'm at right now. We're in Parmesan, building a city.
So your characters and stuff, is it like a class-based system, or is it just this person is a knight and they're gonna stay a knight?
They are always a knight. Like the way that Shining Force works is that your main dude's a swordsman. He's always going to be a swordsman. You don't have any flexibility of weapons. Shining Force 3 is when they start opening it up to where you can have different weapons and stuff. But Shining Force 2 still adheres to the basic principle of the first game. Your centaurs do have an option between like a spear and a lance. So you can pick that. Dwarves always have an axe. The mages always have just a staff. They don't have any other weapons they can use, and so forth. I mean, like, and this game added quite a number of different classes that the original game did not have. Like Slade is a thief, and he's the thief who stole the jewels of light and dark, and he ends up joining your party and stuff. And he's a dirty rat, like literally, he's a rat dude. But anyway, and like later on in the game, they have like Pegasus Knights and different stuff like that you didn't get to really see. I mean, like there were some Pegasus Knights on the evil side in the original game, but like not that you could play. And then they have, just kind of expanded versions of classes later on in the game. But anyway, at this particular point in time, it's pretty basic.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and then after you reach level 10, you get the ability to promote your characters to an advanced version of the class. Typically, you want to wait several levels before you promote them because they will get a better stat growth if you wait a little bit and then promote them. And then once they're promoted, they are temporarily weakened before they start kicking ass. It takes a while for them to get revved back up again.
Are all of the battles story battles, or like can you go out and just kind of like do junk battles to get them back up to speed before you go and do the ones that matter?
The way that you do that is you go into all of the story battles, because they're all story battles. Unless it's like, there's sometimes you just walk out of a town and there's a battle and there's like no text. There's just like dudes on the road and you just got to kill them, whatever.
Yeah,
but but the way that you would fix, level up everybody and grind would be to go into the battle, kill everything on the map except for the main boss guy, because once the boss guy dies, the battle's over and everybody else, like all the other monsters and stuff, disappear.
Right.
So you kill everybody except for that last dude, and then you have your main character use egress, or you use an item called an angel wing to dip out of battle and go back to town. And then you can redo the battle again as many times as you want to. Like there is a tower in the original game that I would use to grind up levels, because in the original game, you got a bunch of like level 1 unpromoted people when your characters were all like somewhere between 5 and 10 promoted class. So like they were way behind and they did like 1 damage and everything like that. So like I had to grind them up endlessly to get them to speed to use them in the later battles. But I used to do that quite a bit. So it's funny though, because even though I hate grinding, for some reason I don't mind grinding in a Shining Force game.
I mean, the strategy RPG element, like actually having movement matter, like for me, actually makes it a lot easier to stomach it rather than everybody line up in a row.
Yeah, and then too, what ends up happening is that I approach the battle in various different ways every single time I go through it. So, like there is variability to it. Like, okay, who do I want to place in the front? Like you don't get to choose where your characters start out on the map, but you can choose, of course, how you move them and where you want to position them. And once you learn like, okay, well, this enemy goes about this far and these enemies tend to go first, then you can kind of figure out your order of operations from there.
Yeah. And that just, it's enough of it's a little bit enough of a variability.
Yeah.
That makes grinding feel just a little bit, like its own individual exercise. Yeah. Neat. Well, I'm happy that you're enjoying this look back at it, as ridiculous as the story elements may seem.
Oh yeah, it's very funny. I'm just like, I have a lot of screenshots of both of these games that I have not posted yet because it takes a lot of time to do and I just don't have the time. But eventually everybody's going to get like the Twitter blast of, me very belatedly going through and quote unquote live tweeting my gameplay experience.
Well, you have to curate your screenshots.
Yeah.
Nice.
What's
I don't have any
everybody
more
else
questions
been
about it. Yeah. I mean, Dennis, I think I want to go to you because you alluded to some degree of heartbreak before we were recording. What's going on, bud?
Yeah, I came in literally about 15 minutes before we started, got my soul absolutely crushed playing XCOM 2. Last week I said I was at a tipping point where my squad was starting to feel pretty invincible, and it was. Right up until I went after the first Chosen. So, War of the Chosen is the expansion for XCOM 2. There are these 3 extra powerful boss type characters that can just randomly drop in on your missions and kind of cause havoc and make everything a lot harder. They can also have kind of macro game implications where they'll like crack down on a region and suddenly that region is making less money for you, etc. So they really are just kind of causing chaos and making things harder for you. You kind of conduct several missions to hunt them, to find out where their stronghold is. And then there's a final mission to attack their stronghold, defeat them once and for all. And that kind of gets them off your plate. So I was rolling over missions so efficiently that I was like, you know what? Before the Chosen gets too powerful, because they actually grow in power over time.
Yeah.
The first one was about to hit the next level, and I was like, I'm so powerful right now. I can go in, hit this stronghold before they level up, and make my life a lot easier for the rest of this. So everything went great.
Did it?
According to plan, the base assault the base assault went right. Got all the way through that, preserved a lot of my abilities because I knew the boss fight was coming.
Here it comes.
Got into the boss fight area.
Okay. Yeah. No.
And the way you kind of finally defeat them is that you have to kill them, and then you have to kill their sarcophagus that's regenerating them.
Okay, so it's like a lich. They got a phylactery.
Mm-hmm. And you got to destroy that in a certain number of turns from when they die, or else they just regenerate. The good thing is, since I've played XCOM 2 before, I know that the mission ends immediately when you destroy that sarcophagus. So, you kind of just balls out, attack that so that you can end the mission. Because when they die, they also start spawning a ton more enemies around the room.
Yes.
Shot at it, whittled it down, and then low rolled my final 3 shots so that I had literally 1 point of health left on the sarcophagus.
Okay.
Chosen respawns, and since I've been ignoring all the enemies around the room, I now have the back to full power boss, and I'm completely surrounded.
Full army, and you are completely depleted.
Yeah, I played it out, but it was just a matter of time. And that is how that run ended. So, XCOM, why you do this to me?
Was it a full squad wipe?
Full squad wipe, and it was all my best people. Yeah, just painful. So
is your infrastructure, like, is your base and global infrastructure set up to the point where, like, you can get your B team up to speed, or are you just going to be harried by these chosen and remain behind the curve the entire time? Basically, is this it? Did you pooch the run?
Yeah, I did pooch the run. No, I could probably lose, 3 of my top guys. I could not lose 6 of my top guys in one go. And generally for missions, like, you mix together some experienced people and some not so experienced people.
But
so
you were going to go nip them in the bud. You were going to go knock them out before they left. Yeah.
It was going to be easy street after that mission. So,
right.
Painful. Why do I play this game? I should play a different game.
It's only your favorite. You've said it multiple times. Yeah.
Oh, I'm going to start a new run tomorrow. Like, it's gonna happen.
Yeah, no, it's gonna.
So it's like a roguelike. If every run of a roguelike took 30 hours. So
yeah, no,
there's that.
So you got your darkest dungeon. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, that's XCOM, baby. That's what can you say?
Showbiz.
Yeah. Another kind of happier milestone that I hit recently was on Trackmania. So I'll just touch on Trackmania real quick. We're doing all the old standbys this week. The new season is out, so there's 25 new maps. They are good. The one, like, significant new thing that's been added is there are now ice loops. So there's loops and there's ice, and they put them together. I haven't reached it yet in the campaign, so I can't tell you how it is. But
is the idea that it's just a loop that is way easier to slide off horizontally into space?
Well, it's a bobsleigh kind of track, so it's like a U that you're riding down. So it's pretty good about keeping you going the right direction. But again, I don't know how effective it is going through the loop. If I don't know, ice, and specifically bobsleigh ice, tends to be this thing where, like, if you set up right for it, you can drive it with your eyes closed. If you set up even slightly wrong, it's a nightmare, and don't even try, just restart.
Right.
So that's that's how I imagine the loops are going to be. But it's notable because, like, this was the meme, right? Like, everyone would always joke about, like, oh yeah, well, we'll make an ice loop, and that'll be peak Trackmania, and so they went there.
Right.
It's kind of fun. But yeah, I'm enjoying the new campaign so far. But the milestone is that I have hit 1,000 hours in Trackmania.
Oh, what?
Yeah, 1,000 hours.
Congratulations.
I don't know what to think about that. This game released in 2020. So
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I play a lot of Trackmania.
Is this tracking it in Steam or
in the Ubisoft launcher? So I'm up to 1,010 now. 455 hours in the create mode.
Okay.
So building tracks, and then the rest of it doing various racing modes.
Okay.
And I will say there are definitely some times where I've just like accidentally or on purpose left something up. And so, there's probably a couple days padded in there, but
That's
still
probably a rounding error.
Yeah. It felt good to see the number go into quadruple digits.
Right. Yeah.
So.
Yeah. No, it's like your odometer rolling over.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's Trackmania. The new game that I've been playing, because I assume that there aren't any questions about Trackmania. Play it; it's good. It's coming to consoles too, so it's more accessible.
This version of it is.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Sorry. There is Trackmania on consoles, specifically Turbo. Now Trackmania, they call it Trackmania 2020, but it's it was one of those weird reboot things where they just use the name, and that sucks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Anyway, it is coming to pretty much every platform in the near future. So that's exciting.
Nice.
They're doing like a big live tournament in line with the Olympics being in France in 2023 or 2024 or something like that.
Okay.
It feels like the game is on the rise even more than it did before.
So it's been 825 days since Trackmania this version came out. So assuming you picked it up on launch day, that is an hour. It's 1.21 hours. So about 1 hour and let's say 13 minutes per day.
Per day? Oh, I can't believe it's not more. Okay, never mind. I'm doing all right. I'm doing pretty good.
Okay.
You frame it up as, that's about 5% of my life that I've spent on Trackmania over the past 2 years. Jeez.
Hey,
I don't regret a thing.
If you're doing what you love,
Yeah. Yes, indeed. Anyway, yeah. So new game that I've been playing is Deep Rock Galactic. A buddy of mine and I were looking for just a co-op game to play, and that's out on Game Pass, and we both have that, so we went for it. And this is like they're closing in on their third season, so they're in their second season now. And the game has evolved a lot since I played it in early access. The core of it is there. You kind of launch into a cave system with a set of objectives, complete the objectives, and get out, with the big cool thing being that you can kind of dig anywhere. And it's very, very, Minecraft with more polygons and things to attack you.
Yeah, and also class-based, right? Like each individual player can be a different loadout, right?
Yeah. So my buddy's playing as the gunner, which has a minigun and a zip line. I'm playing as the driller, which has a flamethrower, and then like this, giant drill hand thing. Like when you're raking leaves, they have like the leaf hands, the rake hands that you use to get them into the garbage can.
You mean like the rake that like folds in half so you can pick up the leaves, or are you talking like actual like Wolverine claws?
Wolverine claw hands.
Or like highlight
pro
catcher.
tip, I think you're the only one that has those.
Oh, yeah, well, everyone else is missing out. Let me tell you. Anyway, my class has that with drills.
So leaf scooping gauntlets. Okay, yeah, I just said that because it's called Giant Hands Leaf Collectors. It's really called Giant Hands. Okay, cool.
So my problem with the game was, which surprises me with how you guys are playing, is like the thing that made me stop playing it was just that Scout was just always more fun than the other classes. But if you want to have a balanced team, only one person can be the Scout.
What is the Scout? Because I haven't played it, obviously.
They're the ones that have the grappling hook.
Ah, well, yeah, grappling hook. What are you gonna do?
Yeah, like that. Honestly, like that's my big thing. Is I feel like they didn't think through, like, once you give one person a grappling hook, that it's all
everybody's gonna want a grappling hook.
Everybody else just becomes the class that doesn't have a grappling hook.
Yeah.
The gunner driller team has worked pretty well, because the zip line lets you go up very easily, and the drills let you go down very easily. And betwixt us both, we can work it pretty much all out. There's more mission types than when I first played. Notably, there's a couple different variants of like building pipe through the caves.
Oh,
so you have
cool.
to like connect different things and build the pipes. But the really cool thing is that the pipes that you build then also act as rails for you to ride on. And then you get kind of a point defense part of the mission where you've kind of built the pipes out to all the different pumps, and then you need to defend like the refinery and the pumps that you connected to it. And so like you know the pipes might break or the refinery might be under attack, and you're just like zipping back and forth, and that's very fun. And it's kinetic in a way that the rest of the game is too dangerous to be that kinetic, where like, you know, if I'm moving that fast on anything but a rail, I'm about to fall down a giant hole, and that's bad.
You're gonna die.
And this is how I know you haven't played the Scout.
Fair enough.
If you fall, you have a grappling hook to pull yourself back up.
That's exactly it.
So have you played any haunted levels yet?
Ooh, no, I haven't.
So at least at some point the levels start having modifiers. And one of them is haunted, and basically what's the big enemy? It's like the
Praetorian, I think.
Yeah, Praetorian. There's basically a immortal Praetorian that just kind of like Nemesis follows you the entire game.
Oh no. That's intense. None of the classes really have like slows or other things to like not just kill an enemy to get rid of it. So I'd be curious how that works out. Yeah, craziness. Yeah, so the variety is good. There's also like like it was the very first mission we played. The drill like drop pod opened up, and there's this giant robot thing, like looking like one of the creatures from Atlantis, like the Disney movie, roving around, and we got into this giant fight with it, used all our ammo before we'd done any drilling, and it dropped like a power core or something like that. I don't know what it is, but I have no idea what they do yet. We've encountered one other monster like that on our missions, but yeah, there's like random bosses you can stumble on. Another one we stumbled on was like a giant weed with all these stalks that were popping out of the ground, and we had to like basically climb our way up to the like center of the stalk, and take it out. So Jack and the Beanstalk, that mofo. But yeah, we've been having a ton of fun with it.
Nice.
Yeah. My one big complaint, heads up, if you played this on Steam and now want to do the Game Pass version,
you gotta start over again. There's
gotta start over. Yeah, no crossplay, which is just asinine. Like, can we not do that anymore?
Hey, you know, it's you gotta keep your platform locked in.
I mean, I reinstalled it on Steam before finding that out, and it got me to uninstall the Steam version and start playing on the other version. So, you know,
what? Because you want to go where your friend is, and that's your problem.
Yeah, I whine about it, but it worked. So I am part of the problem, I guess.
Blah.
But yeah, a very small blah on a very fun game, and we'll see where it goes. It gets more complicated. We tried going up a difficulty step and got our asses handed to us. So we're back in our box where we started, and we'll see if we ever leave again.
Better to have fun. Probably.
Better have fun and get your sea legs a little bit.
Yeah.
And I don't know how dependent the higher levels are on having a full roster to be functional. Because, you know, like I said, we complement each other in terms of our abilities. I imagine the other classes have that same kind of feel. So yeah, it's kind of an interesting thing. But we've been keeping the matches private for now. But if anyone else plays Deep Rock Galactic and is interested in jumping in with a relatively low level character, I think we're level 6 or something like that.
On the Game Pass version?
On the Game Pass version, yep. Hit me up. Yeah, and that's me this week.
Cool. David, how about you?
So I haven't been doing a whole lot. I've been continuing my way through Deathloop. So I'm currently I've uncovered all of the, I guess, kind of specialized ways to, assassinate people that you ultimately need in order to get everyone in one go, except for Wenji and Juliana.
Okay.
And I'm working through Juliana's kind of series missions right now.
Mm-hmm.
And then other than that, I've tracked down, I think, all of the special weapons except for there's a silver bullet sniper rifle that you get from the Moxie. That's the weird like mini game thing.
Okay.
And so that's the only significant weapon I haven't unlocked yet. But yeah, I mean, other than that, I'm just kind of continuing on. I did end up changing it to effectively offline mode so that only NPC Julianas can invade.
Mm-hmm.
Because I know I had too many runs where I would just get insta killed.
Yeah, that's a bummer. I mean, so you still get the invasions, and you get like the variety of the different the different builds that they can have, but they're not going to be playing at a player's level of skill.
Not even remotely. Honestly.
Yeah. So that's probably for the best. If that wasn't additive, it's good that they've got the ability for you to turn it off.
Yeah, exactly.
The like little tooltip tutorials are very overt. Like they knew people were going to rage.
Yeah. Because it's online. Yeah, and not everybody wants to do that.
Exactly. So yeah. I'm trying to think if there's been anything particularly.
You had said that you hit the generator glitch as well.
Yeah, so I hit the generator glitch and found somewhere online that suggested that turning down all your graphics settings to the minimum might take care of it. And I don't know if it was that or if I just got lucky the next time around, but I was able to get past that.
Okay.
Although it turns out that the generators is something you have to do over and over again.
Yeah, that's
interesting.
Yeah.
So that's going to be a thing.
You have to do it multiple times in order to get the detail that you need. Yeah.
Right. Actually, one other thing that I was just slightly disappointed with is that that not much is done with the fact that you can just nuke one of the zones.
Yeah, you can do it, and that's part of. I believe that's part of a successful run. Oh wait, no, it's not. But you do have to end up. Wait, you can stop it, but like, yeah. Sorry, I'm gonna stop half remembering.
Yeah,
things.
so you have to either I think kill one of the visionaries before they can start the countdown, or disarm it.
Okay.
But the thing that disappointed me is it bypasses your ability to like come back after you die. And then also,
because there's no other place for you to rewind to because the entire place is irradiated. Yeah,
exactly.
Oh, no.
And then also like after it kind of does the Hades thing where after a number of ends to runs, if you've killed certain people or died certain ways, you'll have specialized conversations with Juliana, and there wasn't really one that just recognized just like, what the fuck did you do?
Yeah.
I am probably going to try my next run basically starting off the timer and just book it to the exit.
Okay.
To see if it's possible to survive with the place still getting nuked, just to see what happens.
Mm-hmm.
But But yeah, also I love that. I guess this is a little bit spoilers, but the character that does that is the artist character.
Mm-hmm.
And I love the fact that she refers to paint as art juice.
Yep.
No, I do not like art juice.
Yeah, that one has a number. This sequence, there's been a number of kind of endearing dialogues you can over here. I also love one of the characters has the battery song.
Oh, that's a meme one. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's there's some pretty funny stuff. So but yeah, other than that, just need to do all the things. I'm probably gonna go. It seems like there's like 5 ways to kill Alexi.
That's one of the ones where you have a pretty wide variation. Yeah.
Yeah, I want to see if there's a way to sabotage his little like speaking podium, Hitman style, because I think that would be amazing, but I don't know if that's possible.
Explore it. Explore it. You'll see.
Yeah.
Nice.
You'll see.
I don't know how to tell. It's a fine line to walk to say, oh yeah, that's totally worth doing, and not reveal the important thing about it. So
yeah, it does a little bit like the game. That character in particular, like a number of the characters are kind of sympathetic, even though they're all fairly awful people. But a number of them are, somewhat sympathetic.
You're my kind of awful.
Yeah, Alexi is not a sympathetic person at all.
They're all rich to a certain degree, but like he specifically is just there because he put up a bunch of money and he tries to lay a bunch of claim to what's happening there.
Right, and he's straight up like he's basically a fictionalized version of Farmer Bro.
Yes, yeah.
Like to the point, technically it's not him, but one of the characters that like hangs out with him explicitly is Farmer Bro, like mentions like, oh yeah, I made all my money by like killing a lot of people by raising drug prices.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It turns out that's an easy way to make somebody hate a person is for them to do that.
Right. But the thing that's truly unforgivable is that he likes chocolate beer, which is the worst beer.
You're really lucky that Ben isn't here, because he would.
Yeah, I can't troll people if they're not here, which is frustrating.
I mean, you can try, but it's not going to work. Yeah.
Man, you just made me remember that Shock Top used to sell the 6-packs that were half chocolate beers and half their regular kind. You mix them together. It was amazing.
No, the ones I actually don't understand are pumpkin beer. Chocolate beer is actually fine, but pumpkin beer, like, I'm not going to judge someone for obviously liking things, but I don't understand it.
I don't care for it, but I also don't like pumpkin pie or pumpkin spice flavor things. And that's not me being like a bro, like reacting to things. I just have never it's not been a flavor profile I've cared for. So
yeah, I mean, I love pumpkin spice, but yeah.
Yeah, no, it's complicating because I like fall beers, but also fall beer has become synonymous with pumpkin shit. And it's getting more difficult to find the kind of like, Oktoberfest stuff that I want to have, your Dunkelweisses and such, because it's all pumpkin shit.
Not pumpkin shit.
And, other people can have it. It's fine. But, just takes up a lot of. Oh, now I understand why people don't like IPAs. Okay. No, I get it now.
Because they're horrible?
No. Also because they, there's a lot of them and it pushes other stuff off the shelves. Regardless, was Deathloop all you had?
Yep, Deathloop's all I got.
Yeah.
I'm stuck in the loop.
I have 2, one of which I don't have an awful lot to say. I don't have a lot to say about either of them. So that's spoilers for anybody who's wondering how much longer this episode's going to go. But an update, I have continued playing Vampire Survivors. That is a game that defies speaking about because it is entirely in your hands. But today I survived for a full 30 minutes for the first time. I
Hey.
got the red demon guy to come out, and I thought, oh yeah, I'm gonna fight this. Nope, no, he's gonna kill me instantly. Okay, cool. Well, we're done here. So that was fun, and something unlocked for me as I was thinking about it, and playing the game, is the thing that is fun to me about this is exactly the same thing that was fun to me in oh gosh, Geometry Wars, the pacifist mode. It was like Geometry Wars 2 officially added the pacifist mode, where it was entirely about avoiding enemies. You couldn't directly shoot because, just pacifist. But there were, things that would spawn on the map that you could go to that would kill things around you. And so it was all about finding the holes and finding the holes in the groups of enemies and, managing which direction they're going to go, because everything just kind of chases you, And so, like, for me, I really enjoyed just like finding a route of safety through the chaos, And obviously the other thing that's fun about this is picking your build and getting super powerful as it goes. And I've been figuring out, like, what character works. Like, I just got the skeleton guy, and that bone that he throws is real powerful, because it bounces around, which is nice. It's not even like the rune tracer, like the little diamond thing, bounces from enemy to enemy, and that's cool. But like, powering up is real fun, and I have continued to derive some enjoyment out of that. Any questions about my my Vampire Survivors experience?
So, what are some of your, kind of, what's your strategy? Do you have go-to weapons or anything like that, or like must-have passives, or what?
I was pretty into the knife guy for a while, because of the extra projectile that he gets. But found that he kind of like really ran out of steam, and like the knife also the knife makes it so you have to be running towards something to kill it, which is not a
that's a lot harder than it seems.
So I kind of shied away from that. I also got a real sense for how garlic falls off in the mid game as well.
See, garlic is my, like, I almost can't do a run without it.
It's conflicting, right? Because the decision is, okay, I can actually like level up really fast by getting garlic early, and taking it, but like it quickly stops being able to actually kill things that get close to you. So like, okay, do I spend a slot on this in order to guarantee survival past like the 10-minute mark? Or do I take a gamble, and not pick it up and potentially fill that slot with something more useful?
So my kind of go-to on it is, I found it's all about learning which enemies over the course of a run you can just walk at full speed with and have garlic always take out.
Yeah, and then you just go towards pockets of those. Yeah.
Right. And then the other thing is the fact that it basically makes you immune to projectiles.
See, I've not. Oh, yeah. You know what? I have noticed that. It's just that so few things that I've encountered so far have dealt in projectiles.
Okay, some of the later stages really are projectile heavy.
Yeah. You run into I run into it a little bit in the library, and then fuck the dairy, the cow farm or whatever. It's a nightmare. I have no idea why they place that level so early. But like, I've had the most luck with the rune tracer.
Rune tracer's great.
Yeah. Rune tracer, and then like the holy book and the Santa water. Then that bird that does the bombardments. Basically anything that just creates a zone of death, like around me. At a medium distance, has ended up. And like my most successful run, I mean, I was just standing in the I should have taken a screenshot on it, but just standing in the middle of a screen full of enemies and numbers and just mowing through them because I had everything. Yeah, it was really satisfying. So still feeling it out. I'm sure it changes stage to stage, but that's where I'm at right now.
Garlic and Santa water. I don't know, man.
Oh gosh, I think the conceit is maybe this is an Italian developer and this is just Castlevania if it took place in Italy. So Santa water, Saint water. It's literally just finding a different thing to call holy water from the game, or from Castlevania.
Yeah, I know there's actually a bunch of, I think, Italian puns in it.
Yeah. Puns on the original names, or just like puns of transliterations. So like it sounds, this one thing sounds like this. The English version of this sounds like this other word in Italian. So we're making cross language puns based on it too. Yeah, interesting stuff. It's a neat game. I am finding it very easy to compulsively play because before today my average run was like 15 minutes. So that's just enough time to like, oh, I'm gonna stretch out here for a minute, just relax for a moment before I am in between tasks.
Yeah, this is what I'm thinking of. The heart item is Pomerola,
Okay.
which is Neapolitan for tomato.
Okay, yeah.
Just making fun of the fact that like the low pixel count heart looks like a tomato.
Yeah. I was wondering if that, because the other Italian word that I know for that is pomodoro, right?
Yeah, I think it's the same idea. Probably.
Yeah. The other thing that I've been playing, I don't have an awful lot to say about it besides my expectations for it were wrong, and it's ultimately not for me, is Metal Gear Survive. I started streaming that because I had heard we recently did the Watch Hover Fireballs about Metal Gear Solid 5. That is a very fun.
Sorry.
That is a very fun game to play, even if the story falls down more than I remember it falling down. But I was thinking, okay, Metal Gear without the over the top Kojima story, like, sign me up. That actually sounds pretty great. Mechanically, that's it makes sense, and it's got like survival and base building stuff. In my head, I was thinking it was going to be the Metal Gear Solid 5 play loop of reconning a base, dealing with intelligent enemies, guards and stuff. Like, yeah, maybe they're like monster guards, but you're still doing the loop, right? No, you're controlling like a Metal Gear Solid, character. It is kind of like Metal Gear Solid 5, but firearms are a rarity. And instead you have melee weapons, spears and machetes and stuff, that you're crafting. You do end up being able to pick up, stuff to, craft guns eventually. And I was able to craft a pistol, but like, you don't really have enough. It's a survival game, right? Bullets are used sparingly, and you're not really doing like base recon as much as like the game is actively obscuring map information from you and constricting your constricting your field of view with like this crazy fog that they call the dust that you can only be in for a certain amount of time. So you're not like going around tranquilizing and body snatching an entire base. It's just not the way that the game works. You're doing a bunch of like for lack of a better word, like tower defense kind of things, because there are teleporters that you can use, but you have to activate them, and activating them makes a big sound that draws all the enemies, so it starts a little defense kind of thing. And most of that has been like setting up fences. Yes, you deploy tactical fences in this game. Like you have a little thing that builds chain link fences. Which you set up.
That sounds like something out of Death Stranding.
It does. Yeah.
Sounds like something out of Ratchet and Clank.
but you set up like little tracks and stuff for these mindless enemies to run up and down, and hopefully you have enough like Molotov cocktails to take out groups of them. It's just not my kind of thing. The most engaging part of it was stealing everything that wasn't nailed down, and maybe even sometimes taking the nails. But like, I can get that in so many other things. And I was streaming it for Hexcrank because the monster designer is Masahiro Ito, the same monster designer who did like Silent Hill, at least the good ones. And like, yeah, the monster design is like cool and creepy, but it's not like horror-y enough. And the actual gameplay loop, like, I can find so many better survival games that also have horror elements. Like, I haven't even streamed The Forest yet, So
that's a good one.
Yeah. So I just I knew it was going to be an experiment because just the campaign in that is too long for me to do too much with. But I pulled the plug. I just was not enjoying it, and there were people who liked it in the chat who are kind of making their case for it, and this to me just kind of really feels like it's misaligned expectation more than anything, and a product that is not for me. So that's about where I'm at. I'm disappointed that there is not another place to get Metal Gear Solid 5 stuff outside of doing Metal Gear Solid 5.
Yeah, it's kind of surprising because this seems like such a softball pitch to just make a game that's like the base management aspects of Metal Gear Solid 5 just extended out to a whole game.
Yes. Yeah, I would like that. Keep it story light. Also, there's more story stuff in here, and it's not very entertaining. It's all just like, oh, you're in limbo, and there's, you've got to kill the demons before they spread. Cool.
Yeah, the only thing I liked about the story is just how on board Kojima apparently actually was with zombies.
Yeah, you do hear stories about that, which fine, cool. Oh man. So that's about where I'm at. Any questions about Metal Gear Survive? It ultimately was just a disappointment.
Yeah, I popped in and I saw it, a little bit of it, and I was like, And then David also said that he'd tried it and also bounced off, so you're not the only one.
Yeah. Well, he specifically just is not down with either crafting or the bait or the.
Yeah, it's like, by the way, this whole game
kind of thing.
Yeah. The entire premise of the game is not for him.
Yeah.
The main part I didn't like about it was the everything.
Try to get into Final Fantasy, but I just really don't like swords or magic.
To be fair, I myself have played very many games that, I'm trying out, even though I don't have any predisposition to liking the stuff. Like, I'll still try it just to see if I like it. And that was the case for him too. Like, he just knew that there were a lot of people that were really gung-ho about it. And so he's like, well, let me just see. And then he's like, no, not really.
You want to surprise yourself, like, I don't really care for roguelike stuff, but by being adventurous with it and, doing the show, doing Watch Out for Fireballs and playing a bunch of them, and B, just kind of fucking around, like, oh yeah, like Vampire Survivors, that gets into my compulsion loop. Monster Train, that, it's right there. It gets under my skin. You want to be pleasantly surprised and prove yourself wrong. Like, oh, it's not that I don't like this thing. It's just I didn't like the versions of it that I encountered so far. Right?
Yeah.
So good on him for being open to trying it, even though, it ultimately ended up being, poison, deadly poison.
Even though it ended in tragedy.
I mean, ended in a little bit of waste of money and time, which is no huge deal.
Yeah. You could have missed the pain, but then you'd have missed the dance.
What the fuck is that from, Dennis?
I'll give you one guess. Too late. Country song.
Oh, okay. I was going to say XCOM. Sorry, I'm a little. Yeah. That sounds like a soldier quote.
I'm just imagining the like XCOM announcer guy. I know what the dude's name is.
Cole, you realize that you can make posters in XCOM. Like, they got a very involved character editor. So I know what I'm doing after the show.
Please do. So that's all I got. That's all I have. Multiplayer. Now it is time for the multiplayer, where we ask you a question and then you answer it. Dennis.
Or else.
And you damn well better answer it. Dennis, what is the question that you ask the nice people?
Yeah, it's October now. I'm feeling kind of spooky and morbid. And so I asked a question that I got a very strong response to. So I'm sorry for bumming people out. I asked, what would be your last meal game? If you had to give up gaming forever, but got to play through one last game before you were done, what would you choose? And since everybody would, pick a forever game otherwise, I said, assume you have like a week to play it.
Yeah. And I'll get started here with Austin, who says Mass Effect 3, getting to say goodbye to gaming and those characters would feel like the perfect ending. Had to be you.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody who's played Mass Effect 3 will start weeping at that. Do the whole trilogy. You can probably squeeze that in a week. What else are you doing if you only have a week left to live?
I didn't say you were going to die. I just said you had to walk away from gaming.
Okay. Sorry, you said last meal.
Well, yeah. In quotes,
Cole's just assuming that's the only reason he'd walk away from gaming.
I specifically tried to shy away from being that morbid.
Okay.
Everyone went there anyway. So
regardless, Jala, what does Eli say?
Eli says, "Mean question, Dennis." Anyway, but if I really had to pick, I think it might really be that disco game everybody's so crazy about. Just too great a story to not take a last chance to be told again.
Yeah,
at this point, you might as well hold out for the sequel. I'm sure nothing bad will happen with that.
Yeah, I thought about bringing that story, but that is way too much of a bummer. What happened with at ZAUM, or however you pronounce it. Yeah, Disco Elysium was probably going to be my answer. Just go out on a high note. Go out on the game that I can't stop comparing everything to. Yeah. David, what does Jeremy say?
Jeremy says, top 5? Resident Evil 7, Hollow Knight, Dark Souls 1, Ghosts of Tsushima, Mega Man X, can't choose, evil question, why you make me do this?
The whole purpose is to choose.
We just now need an anthology bundle that is those 5 together in one box, so you can claim it's the same game,
but all in a row. So exactly the way that is is put there. Yeah.
Oh, I hadn't thought about how to flight my games. That's a multiplayer for the near future.
I mean, a flight of games is WarioWare.
Yep.
Dennis, what does Greg say?
Greg says, I would say Skyrim. I've not played the game since it came out. I would love to go through the game again, but the only way I'll find the time is a last meal game, as last time I spent over 100 hours on the game.
Oof. Yeah.
That'll get you.
Hi, Dottie. Don't you dare mess up the recording. Sorry, she jumped up on my desk. Skyrim would be I don't know. I haven't played that with the expansions, so possible answer there. Sean gives a good answer here. The Witcher 3, including the DLC expansions. Loved the character interactions and relationships, and the world is so large. It would keep me busy for months upon months before finally putting the controller down and saying goodbye to gaming for good.
Mm-hmm.
To hell with your week.
Do it in a week.
Yeah.
Jala, what does Callum say?
Callum says, probably something I have lots of nostalgia for. Shining Force 2 or Baldur's Gate 2. Sorry, Callum, for not being very excited about Shining Force 2.
Oh, nostalgia is a good route to go too. And Baldur's Gate 2 is pretty beefy. That gets you a good way to go. David, what does Case say?
Case says, shit, I was originally going to pick an MMO and loophole myself out of ever having to give up gaming, so my backup answer would be something like RimWorld. Do one last heavily modded out colony.
That's really close to what my final answer will be. So, yeah, RimWorld is a good one for that. Yeah. Dennis, what does David say?
He says, Bloodborne is the only game I replay semi-regularly as it is. Why not have one more go at the streets of Yharnam? It's what hunters do.
A hunter hunts.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Jack says, it has to be a fresh save on Returnal. Acceptance of the inexorable. Yeah, I'm going to need a thematic parallel, thank you.
Oh, that's good.
And Jala finishes out with what Rookie says.
Rookie says, Nier Automata, getting to the final ending and spoiler, deleting my save so I can continue helping other players, even after I can no longer play video games seems like a fitting way to end things.
Very poetic.
Mm-hmm.
And a good answer. My answer would be Frostpunk. I just love that game so much. To be a great way to spend a week, not necessarily like working toward any one particular end, but just going through the scenarios and playing a game that is one of the best like integrations of play and story and vibe, that I've played in a very long time. Man, Frostpunk is a good game, and there would be much worse games to go out on.
That just seems like a deeply depressing way to go out.
No, it's fine.
Okay.
Yeah. No, it's good, actually. I'm okay. Jala, how about you?
I would probably say Lunar or Lunar 2, one of those. Because like that was a game that was super important to me in my youth. And so like that would be a good feels good game to end on.
There's a nice symmetry to that. One of the first games that you played that was like really like, oh yeah, this is for me, this whole video game thing. And then bookending it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And David, how about you?
So I think I would show David solidarity by going with Bloodborne. That's probably pound for pound my favorite game.
Cool.
So yeah, no, and I think that's one that I'd get something out of playing it again.
Yeah.
I'm not sure I could beat it a week though.
Well, I think that there's wiggle room. Once we learn that you're not going to die at the end of this, I think anything goes.
Yeah.
Death is the only thing that can stop me.
You should leave corpses well enough alone. Let's see here. And Dennis.
Yeah, so I went more retro. The first video game that I can remember playing was in my cousin's basement, Super Mario Bros. 3.
Okay.
So I feel like I'd have to just bookend and go back and play through Super Mario Bros. 3 as well.
It's a good one. It holds up.
Yeah. And I was about to say, yeah, that's a game that stands the test of time, and there's a poetry to have it being the alpha and omega. So I feel like, and it's fairly meaty.
Mm-hmm.
So I like that as the closer, as it were.
Yeah. Nice. Well, good question, Dennis. Thank you for posting it. We got a good response. Thank you, everybody, for writing in. If you would like to be like them, you can participate by going to facebook.com/TheLevelPodcast and watching for the prompts to go up on Monday afternoons. The End Boss. Now it is time for The End Boss, where we talk about things that are happening in the world of video games. Sometimes that are exciting to us, though mine is a bummer. And Jala, yours is not necessarily that great either.
Nope.
What did Google kill this week?
Google killed Stadia. It's going bye-bye in January of 2023. But on the note of developers trying to salvage things, Ubisoft is working to bring the games purchased in Stadia to users on PC via Ubisoft Connect. They have 38 games on Stadia, which is more than any other publisher. So users would lose access once the service shuts down. They're trying to find a way to port everything over for everyone. Destiny 2 already supported cross-porting of save data, so Destiny 2 players will be able to pull their save data over. I don't know about like if you have, like any way of getting another copy of it, on the developers or what. Tequila Works, who published a Stadia exclusive title called Guilt, said the game would be published on other platforms in the future. And also, just generally, there were 300 games on Stadia, and all the publishers are getting hit with requests to somehow preserve their save data at the very least, and of course, preferably their purchases. But all of the developers now are like, F you, Google!
I mean, it came by a surprise. Like there was one developer who announced the launch of a game on Stadia, and then the next day, like, retweeted it along with this article and said, "Welp."
Oh, no.
Yeah. It really just it was like a lightning strike out of nowhere. And so I would not want to be any of these non Ubisoft massively resourced publishers or developers who suddenly has this group of very, distraught people who like are losing time that they put into these games because of a decision Google made.
Google is infamous for ruthlessly cutting its losses, right? Like this, the specific announcement, like, and all that, like, yeah, that was a surprise, but it had to be in the back of every developer's mind.
That's why I didn't buy one or, really pay that much attention to it, because I lived by Google Reader and they took that away from me. So, one thing that is weird about it, aside from the short notice, is that anybody who bought hardware, like the consoles for this, Google is just straight up doing a refund. Like,
which that actually seems legit. That's
better than expected.
Surprising.
So there is that, but also I don't know. It's hard for me to see anything related to how this is affecting developers and like extend them a benefit of the doubt. So a weird decision. Anything else about Stadia?
No.
David, what's happening with CD Projekt Red? What they doing?
Yeah, they're making a new Cyberpunk game. That's basically all we know.
Yes, they had it was like an investor call or something like that. They announced, yes, Cyberpunk 2077 is getting a sequel. They said that there are 4 Witcher games in development.
Oh my god!
Yeah,
there's got to be like some mobile games, right?
Yeah, maybe a Gwent of some kind. 4 is a lot. Cyberpunk, one of those weird little redemption things, like a massive flop that was saved by anime.
Yeah, I feel like, does it count as redemption if the thing that redeemed it is just a completely different media made by different people?
I mean, so they apparently fixed a bunch of stuff, at least the technical stuff. The redemption would be like, okay, it undersold, but then a related work is like, oh, this world is interesting. It's a redemption purely because of sales, right? Because they like surpass the maximum number of people. Like more people are playing it now than ever, which is wild. For a game like that, right? To have more people playing it now than at launch.
Hopefully the sequel will actually be Cyberpunk.
Hopefully they will treat their employees better.
That doesn't sound very Cyberpunk.
Yeah, that doesn't. Oh, man. I got one. It's kind of a bummer. There's been a bunch of upheaval in video game websites. A lot of people losing their jobs. A lot of properties and sites trading hands. One that is got me nervous a little bit is the fact that Fandom, the consortium, the platform for fan wikis, that happens to make some of the least usable websites in the entire world, just fucking crimes in the hand when you try to do anything with them on mobile. Fandom has bought specifically a portfolio of companies that was held by a venture capital firm, like Red Ventures or something for what it is. But they have purchased a whole bunch of sites, including Giant Bomb, GameSpot, Metacritic, the online storefront Fanatical, and the one that I am like mega super worried about, not just because I do a show that requires it, it works in Abject Suffering is about GameFAQs, but because like GameFAQs is like this trove. It is a bunch of data stuck in amber that is like a historical artifact of just these incredibly misguided but very prolific people who were making FAQs and walkthroughs and doing reviews and writing on these message boards from the late, specifically like from the late 90s up through, the early 2010s. Like, it is a culture, as ridiculous as it is to say, it is this cultural bastion that I do not trust in the hands of fandom. Oh my God.
No.
The last people that I want to have anything to do with anything related to walkthroughs. The only thing that has been more deleterious to like on, any like information about these games than video walkthroughs, the proliferation of those, is fandom wikis themselves, oftentimes choking out other like more stable, better, fully featured fan wikis and stuff. Fandom is just this fucking blight, More people are concerned about Giant Bomb. The Giant Bomb people seem to be pretty okay with it, just like, okay, we're owned by a company that at least seems invested in, our audience, or at least in our market, as opposed to just being like a venture capital kind of thing. But specifically with GameFAQs, keep your goddamn hands off of it. It belongs in a museum.
Mm-hmm.
I would like to officially say that I do not share Kole's views about fandom.
Why? What?
They're a major. They're basically the only non-defense contractor based out of Huntsville.
Oh, okay, cool.
Uh-huh.
Okay, I don't want to harm any of your prospects there. I'm speaking entirely for myself. I just
no. I'm joking.
Okay.
I mean. No, I'm actually fairly excited about this this message, because maybe there'll be more stuff in Huntsville. But
cool, yeah.
I can see where you're coming from, though.
Yes.
I wonder, does the Wayback Machine take care of GameFAQs?
I've got bad news about the Internet Archive. Currently, a bunch of shitty authors are trying to sue it out of existence, so we may not be able to rely on that either. Yeah. Sorry, didn't mean to rant there, but I take GameFAQs very seriously.
No, understandable.
God bless those weirdos. God bless all of those people who used to be 12 years old in 2003. Because I was one of you. Dennis, what's happening with Overwatch?
Yeah, Overwatch 2.0, right?
Yes.
has launched as of today, I believe, when we're recording.
Mm-hmm.
And people can't get in, which, it's a game launch, and that's not entirely unexpected, but apparently it is due to a intentional DDoS attack.
Yeah.
That is keeping people out. So, on the one hand, I want to laugh at a game I don't care about from a company I don't like having trouble. On the other hand, doing this kind of thing is the shittiest way to demonstrate your apathy towards them.
I need
what's
to
the
know.
Alternative?
I need to know why they're doing
play
it. Yeah. Well, yes. Yeah. I need to know why they're doing it. Has there been anybody who's claimed responsibility for it? Like, is it because of the business?
No, that's what I'm waiting for, right? Is how cringy whatever
consumers' rights.
Yeah. Blah blah blah. So whatever.
I've got I don't know. I just if they're like, oh yeah, Blizzard is way too cozy with the Chinese government and was on the wrong side of Hong Kong and stuff like that. Like, okay, yeah, no,
you were mad at them because they changed your game.
It's too woke.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Out of all the reasons, that's the one they're going to pick.
Yeah. Just now, Overwatch went woke for fucking real. Yeah, I would be curious. I'm not saying I don't think DDoSing is beyond the pale, but I like if it's just because you made a decision that I don't like, then I'm not.
They changed it from 6 people to 5 people. They added this free to play model. Everyone is gay now. That's a joke because everyone in Overwatch was already gay.
Well, yeah, that's why I was making the joke. Like, it's a famously inclusive game, and shitty people would be upset about that.
Yeah.
I don't know. I do think that lowering the number of players in competitive shooters is like a mortal sin. Like, I'm pretty sure you have to.
I wouldn't DDoS for that. I would DDoS on matters of, let's say the labor power and let's say human rights.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, well, I mean that too, but player counts. Come on, man.
God bless them. Their heart's in the right place.
Yeah. I'm sure they're going to get this figured out. Like it'll be
Well,
unraveled
and
before the weekend. Yeah.
Yeah. Honestly, I'm halfway in the camp of like it's probably just jitters that they can conveniently blame on
Oh yeah. I don't know. People.
something that makes them seem less culpable.
Yeah.
Well, I feel like this is especially kind of questionable because it's like, well, I mean, you can just go play Overwatch 1, right?
Nope.
Nope.
Yanked it away.
Well, and as of recording, like right now, there's 250,000 people watching it on Twitch, and it seems like all the major streamers are in it.
Yeah.
So it's not
not a
holding
complete
too bad.
lockout. Yeah.
Mhm.
Hey David, we can hear the thinking again. Yeah.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. I've got to keep it in because
I
we're
need
doing
like a
it.
fidget spinner or something. Some sort of silent fidget spinner.
Get a pocket knife. I've been playing with a pocket knife all episode. Yeah. Yeah, I'm going to keep that in just because it also happened while you were talking. I'm not going to cut what you said.
Okay, my bad.
No worries. Yeah, I don't have anything else to say about Blizzard or Overwatch.
Yeah.
Alrighty. All right. So that sounds like a show to me. How do you all feel about buttoning up?
Buttons.
Let's do.
The credit.
Thanks so much for listening to level number 431. Of course, I misnumbered this 331 because I always do that. Yeah.
What are
We're
you
going
talking
back
about?
in time, fools.
2 years.
2016 was a month ago.
Yeah.
Oh shit! No, I don't want to go back in time.
Yeah. No matter which direction we go, we're kind of fucked here. So thanks so much for watching, or for listening rather. You know what to do to support us: Patreon, subscribing, Facebook, telling your friends, all of that kind of stuff. Jala, what's happening on Jala's Place?
So, Jala-chan's Place, the most recent episode that dropped, is about a Bollywood film called Koi Mil Gaya, which is basically like 7 different Spielberg movies smashed together. And like it starts out with like the first half of it being this really nice like slice of life kind of story about a developmentally challenged guy who ends up like falling in love and all this other stuff. But then there's aliens and he turns into Solid Snake, gains superpowers.
You're
and like a lot of
signs.
a lot of other things.
describing-
Various things occur. Space Jam happens.
Is this the really pretty guy from that Bollywood movie we were watching?
Yes, that's the movie that this episode is about. So anyway, it's actually a very, very fun movie, but also I've already gotten feedback on it that it is a fun episode to listen to. Because this movie is like 7 different movies in one. I went with the whole let's just do a synopsis of it. And like if this sounds cool to you, you can get it on eBay for like $12 on a DVD. You cannot stream it anywhere. So because Amazon pulled it off.
Weird.
But that happens with Bollywood movies pretty regularly. Like they're on there for a limited time and then they're off again. So, but this is still really easy to get a hold of. And anyway, listen to the episode. It's actually part of a series that eventually turns into the Indian version of X-Men. So, like the whole series goes places, but this movie is just like very unique because it's incredibly disjointed. But like, I watched it the first time and I'm like, okay, this is a fun movie. But then like, as I kept thinking about it and thinking about all the places it went, I was like, I need to watch this again. And then like, I've watched it like 4 times in the last 6 months. And it's like, I have a whole backlog of other stuff to watch, but I keep watching this movie. And it's just because it's fun. And like, there's a lot more that's charming and, you know, enjoyable to go back to and to think about. even if it is super disjointed and, like I said, it just like switches modes and goes into different movie modes randomly, but they're all capably done. Each individual part is capably done. It's just like sometimes it's an action movie, sometimes it's Space Jam, sometimes it's The Goonies, sometimes it's Close Encounters of the Third Kind or E.T. So whatever.
Sometimes you just want to watch something where people were having fun making it, you know.
They were having a lot of fun, and the thing is that the casting and everything is really good, and it's just a lot of fun. So
nice. Where can people go to find that?
They can go to jalachan.place. That is the URL, and of course,
a good URL.
You can also follow my adventures on any social media at jalachan in places.
Nice. If you like the Phoenix Wright games, go back an episode and listen to us talk about Trials and Tribulations. That was fun as well. Dennis, what's going on with your ventures?
Yeah, so if you're listening to this on Friday, I am at Sin City Con, specifically on Saturday. If you're listening to this later, then sorry you missed it, but I'll be doing that.
Nice. Sounds good.
I would give a booth number, but it's also a small enough con that like you'll be able to find me.
Yeah, you'll see the deck of wonders.
Just go in and shout Dennis.
It'll be I think it's G13 is the booth.
Cool. Well, I think I've got to go because we need I've got an early appointment tomorrow. So I've been Kole Ross. You can catch me on Twitter at Kole Ross, KoleRoss.
I've been Dennis Furia. You can catch me making an XCOM poster.
I've been David Myersmith. You can catch me going for a sleep. Doing a sleep.
I already said my stuff, so there, places. Go there. You can
pay
find
attention.
me.
Yeah. And stick around for some titles. So it's got to be who Yassified Yertle, right?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I stopped writing titles after that.
So I totally agree. I have 4 others just for like posterity.
Yeah. Okay.
I have Bruce Cage.
Okay.
Is Jimbo a name? Bowie.
Yeah.
Okay.
And Glamour Turtle.
I also have one additional one.
Okay.
Carve a new nut.
Carve your own nut in life. Yeah. Carve a new nut. Dennis, did you have any additional?
I had, before we got to who Yassified Yertle, Gandalf ass looking fella.
That's pretty good.
Okay, that was fun to write. But yeah, no, I only had who Yassified Yertle. That it had to be.
Mm-hmm. Completely agree.
Oh my god!
I got a title. Woo.
Yay, it was good. Cool. All right. It is decided.